I gave my life savings to my sister so she could start her dream bakery. I signed the lease, helped with branding, even built the website. 2 months later, she locked me out of the business and said, "I don't owe you anything. It was your choice to help." I sat outside the storefront watching her serve cupcakes with my logo still on the door. When I tried to talk to her, she called the police. I thought that was the end, until I got a call from her accountant. About a year ago, my life turned into a nightmare I never saw coming. I'm 35, living in Fort Collins, Colorado. I never lived a flashy life. No big vacations, no crazy shopping sprees. I worked a boring office job, lived in a small apartment, drove a 10-year-old car. Every extra dollar went straight into savings. After about 10 years, I had saved up around $74,000. It wasn't retirement money or anything, but it was everything to me. It was my security blanket. My younger sister, Cassidy, is the complete opposite. She's 28, loud, impulsive, always chasing some new dream. For the last 5 years, it was, "I want to open a bakery." Every birthday, every holiday, every random Tuesday, she talked about it. I never thought she'd actually pull it off. She couldn't hold on to a job longer than 6 months. She had no savings, wrecked credit, and this blind confidence that somehow it would all work out. Then one night, she showed up at my place with a box of takeout and that manic energy she gets when she's about to do something reckless. She found the perfect storefront, she said. A little place on College Avenue. Cute, great foot traffic, affordable rent. But, she said, eyes big, voice sweet, "I need help getting started." At first, I hesitated. I'm not stupid. I knew giving her money was risky. But she cried. She said she needed someone to believe in her. I gave in. Like an idiot, I gave in. I told her I'd help. Not just with money, but with everything. Because her credit was garbage, I signed the lease in my name. Full responsibility if she defaulted. I helped her come up with a name, Cloud9 Cupcakes. I even designed the logo myself, pastel pinks and soft blues, a little cupcake floating on a cloud. I built her a full website after work every night. Took online courses to figure out SEO, marketing, basic web design. It looked damn professional. I helped paint the walls of the bakery, scrubbed floors, set up tables and chairs, bought the ovens, the display case, the cash register, paid for ingredients, paid the first 3 months of rent and utilities. By the time it was ready to open, I had put in about $67,000. She cried when we unlocked the doors for the soft opening, hugged me and said she couldn't have done it without me. I cried too. I thought we were in this together. The first few weeks were busy. Good busy. I helped behind the counter when needed, ran the Instagram account, posted photos of her cupcakes every day. I even helped her plan a cupcake happy hour to bring in afternoon crowds. But little things started to feel off. She stopped including me in decisions. Started telling me to just stay in the back when I was there. Changed the password on the Instagram account. I told myself it was stress. She was just overwhelmed. Then one morning, I showed up and my key didn't work. At first, I thought maybe the lock was broken. I knocked. No answer. Texted her. Nothing. Finally, she came to the door, opened it just a crack, and said flat out, "You don't work here. You're not welcome here." I was so stunned, I just stood there. I asked her what the hell was going on. She crossed her arms and said, "Loud enough for people walking by to hear, you chose to help. I never promised you anything. It was your choice." Before I could even process that, she slammed the door shut. I stood there shaking. I didn't know what to do. When I knocked again, she called the police on me. A couple officers showed up, treated me like a crazy person, said it was a civil matter, nothing they could do. I sat on the curb across the street for an hour, just watching her sell cupcakes to smiling customers under the logo I designed, in the shop I built with my own money. I hit rock bottom after that. Weeks went by. I barely ate. I barely slept. My life savings were gone. My sister had humiliated me. I thought maybe that was it. Maybe I had to just eat the loss and move on. Then one random afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hi, is this my name? My name's Paul. I'm Cassidy's accountant. I think we need to talk. I sat up real fast. Paul explained that he had been handling her books. And there were problems. Big ones. For starters, when we first got things going, Cassidy had me sign a bunch of forms. Loan applications. Tax ID paperwork. Supplier accounts. Guess whose name was still listed as a 50% owner on most of them? Mine. Even though she locked me out, even though she acted like I was nothing, legally I was still half responsible for the bakery. And since she hadn't been paying payroll taxes properly, the IRS would be coming after me too. I thought I was going to puke. But Paul, bless his awkward accountant heart, wasn't just warning me. He was mad too. Cassidy had stiffed him on his fees. He wanted her to go down. He sent me copies of every document. I took them straight to a lawyer. Sarah was a beast. No nonsense. No fake smiles. She looked over everything and said, "We've got her by the throat." We filed a lawsuit. Fraud, breach of contract, misuse of funds, unjust enrichment, lease violations. Cassidy didn't even know it was coming. She was so sloppy, so smug. She thought she was untouchable. While the lawsuit moved forward, I made more moves. I called the health department and reported violations, and I knew there were many: dirty storage, cross-contamination. I contacted the labor board and reported her for paying workers under the table. I left honest, detailed reviews on Yelp, Google, Facebook, anywhere customers could find them. I posted my story on local Fort Collins community boards. Slowly but surely, her business started bleeding out. Customers stopped coming. Inspectors showed up. Fines started piling up. And Cassidy? She had no idea what was really happening yet. She still had to deal with court. Court day came faster than I expected. I hadn't seen Cassidy since the day she called the cops on me. When I walked into that courtroom in downtown Fort Collins, she was already there, sitting next to her lawyer, flipping through her phone like she couldn't care less. When she finally looked up and saw me, she smirked. Like it was a joke. Like she thought I was going to roll over. Her lawyer tried to paint me as a helpful older sister who got her feelings hurt. Tried to say there was no written contract, no employee records, no promises made. Said it was a family dispute, and I was just jealous that Cassidy had finally made something of herself. I stayed calm. I didn't say a word. Because then my lawyer stood up. She had receipts, emails, texts, loan documents, screenshots from the bakery's website with me listed as a founder. There was even a handwritten note from Cassidy from the opening day, saying, "Couldn't have done this without you. Our dream come true." That note was gold. Cassidy looked like she'd swallowed a knife when it was read out loud. But the real nail in the coffin was the lease. Because the lease for the storefront was 100% in my name. Which meant Cassidy had been operating a business in my building without permission. Legally, I could have her evicted. The judge wasn't happy with either of us. Family business is messy, he said. But the law was clear. Cassidy was given two choices: pay me $94,000 in damages, original investment, lost profits, emotional distress, or surrender the entire business to me. She had 2 weeks to decide. I thought it was over. I thought she would fold. But Cassidy? Cassidy went full nuclear. She emptied the bakery overnight. I drove by the next morning and found the place gutted. No ovens. No chairs. No tables. No register. Even the damn light bulbs were missing. She had taken everything. I tried calling. No answer. I tried texting. Blocked. I even drove to her apartment. She was gone. Just disappeared. The landlord, my landlord, technically, was furious. We found out she had broken the lease agreement, left thousands in damages, and skipped town. I was stuck. No bakery. No equipment. No money. Just an empty shell of a shop with my name still tied to it. The lawyer told me we could file criminal charges now. Theft, vandalism, property damage. I was already so tired. So angry. But then, a week later, something unexpected happened. Paul, the accountant, called again. He said, "You're not gonna believe this, but she's trying to reopen. Not in Fort Collins. In Loveland, about 30 minutes south. Using the same name, Cloud9 Cupcakes. Same pastel logo. Same Instagram page. Same everything." She thought moving towns meant I couldn't touch her. She thought wrong. Because the original business name? I had filed the trademark paperwork during the lawsuit. Cloud9 Cupcakes was mine, which meant Cassidy was now committing trademark infringement. I had her cornered, but I didn't rush. I waited. I let her pour what little money she had left into her new shop. New furniture. New ovens. New decorations. Probably borrowed money from some new sucker boyfriend. I let her have a grand opening, let her think she was back on top. I even showed up, bought a cupcake, watched her from across the street while she laughed with customers. And then? I hit her with a cease and desist letter so hard it might as well have been a punch to the throat. Cassidy didn't even read the cease and desist letter at first. She laughed about it online. Posted some garbage on Facebook like, "Haters gonna hate. Family is just jealous sometimes. #bossbabe." I stayed quiet. Meanwhile, my lawyer filed a full trademark lawsuit in Larimer County. This time, it wasn't just about money. It was about shutting her down completely. Cassidy ignored all the official letters and emails. She thought she could outweight me. Bad move. Ignoring a trademark violation? It doesn't go away. It gets worse. Fast. After 2 missed court appearances, the judge issued a default judgment. Translation. I officially own the Cloud9 Cupcakes name, logo, and all branding. Cassidy was legally ordered to shut down immediately and pay fines for damages. If she didn't, the sheriff's office could physically seize her property. But Cassidy still didn't get it. She kept operating in Loveland, right out in the open, selling cupcakes under a name she no longer owned. So guess what I did next? I hired a process server. Not just to serve her papers again. To show up at her new bakery in front of her customers. On a Saturday afternoon. Picture it. The place was packed. Parents. Kids. Birthday cupcakes being handed out. And then a man in a plain black jacket walked in, holding a thick manila envelope. He called out loud enough for the whole bakery to hear. "Cassidy last name? You've been served. Trademark infringement. Court-ordered shutdown notice." The entire shop went silent. Mothers grabbed their kids. People left cupcakes half-eaten on tables and walked out. Cassidy? She just stood there, frozen, holding a pink cupcake like a prop. After that, the city health inspector showed up. Paul helped tip them off again. They found 3 violations. No updated business license. Outdated permits. Improper food storage. They shut her down on the spot. By Monday morning, her shop windows were covered in yellow notice of closure stickers. But I wasn't finished. She still owed me money from the judgment. She still owed fines. She still owed damages for the first bakery she gutted. I filed for wage garnishment. Cassidy had started working part-time at a nearby pizza shop under the table, but now everything legal she earned could be seized. The sheriff served the garnishment order at her new job too, right in front of her new boss. She was fired that same day. Now she was stuck. No business. No job. No money. Owing tens of thousands to the sister she betrayed. And people started to talk. Fort Collins isn't a huge city. Loveland's even smaller. Stories spread. Parents warned each other online. Local vendors blacklisted her. Cassidy became radioactive. But the final twist? It came from someone I never expected. The final twist came from Paul, the accountant. He called me one night, real late, like he'd been drinking. Said he had something I needed to know. Turns out, Cassidy hadn't just been bad with money. She'd committed loan fraud too. Remember those startup loans we applied for when we first opened? Cassidy had secretly taken out another loan later, using my forged signature. Almost $30,000. And now that loan company was coming after me. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I had already spent months fighting her in court, losing sleep, losing friends who said I was too harsh. And now this? I got my lawyer involved again. We pulled the documents. The signature was bad, clearly forged, but banks don't care. If your name's on it, you're stuck until you fight it. So we filed criminal charges. Bank fraud, identity theft, forgery. It took months, but finally, there was a warrant out for Cassidy's arrest. Police picked her up outside a crappy motel just outside Longmont. The mugshot made local news. She looked hollow, skinny, eyes wild. Nothing like the girl who once hugged me outside her dream bakery. At trial, she cried. Said she didn't mean to. Said it was family money, so it wasn't really stealing. The judge didn't buy it. She got 3 years probation, 250 hours of community service, and a felony on her record. She's screwed for life now. No loans, no leases, no professional licenses. Even most regular jobs won't hire her with a fraud charge. And me? I finally got back most of my money between the lawsuit settlements, wage garnishment, and small claims. Not everything, but close enough. I'm back on my feet now. New job, better apartment, better friends. But I'm not the same. I don't trust people easily anymore. I don't throw around the word family like it's supposed to mean something. And if I ever feel even a hint of manipulation, I walk away. Cassidy thought she could build her dreams on my back and toss me aside. She thought family loyalty made me weak. She forgot that when you screw someone over, someone who gave you everything, sometimes they turn into your worst nightmare.